Hello everybody, Rebels of Cloud9 here. Hope you guys are doing well, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Batman and Robin Batmobile. This is a very controversial Batmobile in many respects because it is not the most revered of all the Batmobiles. It is one that I said I wasn't ever going to buy, and then I collected a bunch of other Batmobiles over the past year. And I decided you should probably get this one to complete the collection. And I will say it's a lot nicer than I thought it was going to be. It is originally made by Revell Models, so if you have the Revell kit, it's the exact same as this. This is just under the AMT branding with Polar Lights and Round 2 and a bunch of other companies. So Round 2 owns a whole mess of these, but it's essentially the same as the Revell. I really like the coloring that we have on the box here. The red and blue, very reminiscent of the Batman and Robin film. Taking a look at the side of the box here, we got this beautiful picture of the Batmobile built up. It's actually quite an impressive model, which we'll get into in just a second here. And then we've got some more details here. What is nice about this Batmobile is you do get a figure on the inside, which is something lacking with a lot of the Batmobiles, and that has been I've seen that as a criticism with a lot of them, and I agree. It would be nice to have more figures in some of them. Not a total necessity for me personally. Here we've got this great side profile of the whole Batmobile. This is quite a big model, actually. As we'll see here, it is 13 inches long. This is actually, I think this might be the longest Batmobile, possibly. You got the Batman Forever Batmobile down there, which is one of my favorites. I'll include a link in the description down below if you'd like to see the inbox review of that one. And I also did it of the Michael Keaton Batmobile, so I'll include that down in the description as well. Then we got some other nice little pictures here, showing some of the features here. Open cockpit, cut out body panels, rear exhaust pipes, etc. So there's some cool stuff in here. It's actually a lot nicer and a lot more detailed than you think it would be. But let me just set the camera back up here, and let's go dive in and look at these parts. Alright, so some of the first pieces we have out of the box here is the front grille of the car, as well as this turbine spinner here. So this would spin around and light up, if you remember that from the movie. I haven't seen it in a very, very long time. It's one I've wanted to revisit, but I'm not really eager to. But that's beside the point. Taking a look at like the front here, we've got some really nice detail. Again, all molded in chrome, so that turbine will sit on the front there. This has a lot of possibilities for those who are adventurous to light it up. There's a lot of potential with this particular model. It's pretty cool. I'm not personally a fan of chrome. I just don't find it looks right. It just looks toy-like to me. I don't find that it looks good when it's scaled really small like this. So likely I'll be stripping this down and then repainting it myself with the very shiny silver instead. I think it looks better for the scale. That's just my personal preference. We do get another big sheet here of chrome. This big chrome sprue, and hopefully this won't be reflecting too much so the camera will pick it up. So here we have the side walls. There's quite a bit of little greebly details and pipes and panels and things. And I'm just, looking at this, and I'm like, this would be really fun to have stripped down and just paint this up however I would like to. Paint it different shades of silver, paint the different boxes. It's pretty good detail in there though. It's pretty fun. Here we've got, instead of one jet exhaust in the back, we have 6. There's 3 on either side here. That was an interesting feature with this particular Batmobile. And moving on over here, we've got the rims. They're very chrome. They're very, very shiny. And yeah, they've got these little Batman logo spinners that fit in the middle there. It's kind of an interesting feature, I gotta admit. I think that's pretty cool. And then we've got these blades sitting in the front here. I'm not really sure what the point of them is, except Batman doesn't kill, but he does like to make life miserable for those who commit crime. So I guess that's just to slice off a couple limbs so they'd never go back to a life of crime. or they can't commit the crime again, rather. And we've got this kind of interesting steering wheel here with the little Batman symbol in the middle. I think it's pretty cool. So that's it for chrome. And here we have the body. Now this is actually a lot more impressive than I thought it was going to be. And it's got this beautiful open sections here, these kind of ribs. And it just, you spin it around here and just look at how this curves in here. That's just really cool how they got that. It really curves in here. It's very impressive how they molded this. I have no idea how the heck they did this. There is a really fantastic Batman Batmobile documentary. It's very interesting. It's a history of the Batmobiles up until the Christopher Nolan Batmobile, so the Tumbler. It was made for the Dark Knight Rises bonus features, but you can watch it for free on YouTube here. And they go through all the Batmobiles, and there's a fantastic section with this one. It's sadly very short, but they only ever made one of these Batmobiles, and they poured all the money into it. It's a very extensive Batmobile. It's a very complicated car. So in all these wavy curve sections here, there were neon lights that would shine blue, I think it was, down on this area. And I have to admit, that's kind of inspired me to build this car. So I'm actually really kind of glad I got this one, more than I was before. It's got these giant fenders here in the front with these very, very sharp edges here. It's very cool looking. And then in the front of the car, we've got this really interesting bat motif, and I don't know, you could say these are fangs coming down there, whatever your imagination wants. It's pretty cool. And this is molded here in a glossy plastic, and then the centers are molded in more of a matte. They have I shouldn't say that. It's molded in the same plastic, but this is shiny and this has a bit of a rougher texture, so you get the two tones in there. And then of course in the back here we have the open cockpit. But yeah, like I said, it's a lot nicer than I thought it was going to be initially when I was like, I don't really want this Batmobile. Now I'm like, I actually think this is going to be a really fun project. Taking a look at the main floor or chassis. So it's a big hunk of plastic here. And flipping it around here, there's quite a bit of little details. So this is the front here. We've got this turbine here. We've got these kind of slanted edges going down here. I don't know if that's like a booster sort of thing, so it pushes the Batmobile up like this. I cannot remember. Like I said, I haven't seen the movie in years. But it's got some really nice detail on the underside. We've got these little chevrons here with this mesh on the inside there. I don't know if that's supposed to light up. There are sections that did light up on the real car. So yeah, a turbine and these pipes. It just looks pretty great. I really like this. And they got the fenders. They've got holes in them so the wheels can turn. 1997 DC Comics. It's a nice piece here. And here we have the back half of the car. So this fits into the tub. It's the main part of the cockpit with this little bucket seat in here. And then we have all these little open details on the instrument panels there. Sorry, camera is not wanting to focus on those for some reason. There you go. Got quite a bit of detail. All of these will light up blue. So like I said, you could carve those out, put some mesh in there, and yeah, you could have a interesting lighting project with this particular car. It's pretty interesting how they figured all this out. Breville did back in the day for such a complicated subject. It's very impressive. So moving on over here, we have part of the back of the fenders, and here's our little Batman figure. He's not too bad, I gotta say. Let me just adjust the light here. So he's not too bad. So I think it's a fair likeness. You wouldn't necessarily say it's George Clooney, but you would say, hey, there's a Batman in your car. And then we've got these, well, no, you wouldn't say that. You say you got a Batman in your Batmobile, not in your car. But you can put it in your car. I mean, it's optional. It's your model. Do whatever you want. Don't need me to tell you what to do. Anyways, we've got these arms here to hold the steering wheel. And this is another part. I think this goes in the front or the back. Kind of in the bottom. I can't remember now. I'd have to check. Sorry. We've got these long tails on here. These are very, very long. They come in two halves, as you can see here. They don't split. They're just meant to be in two sections. And also right here, I want to mention this is the rear and front axles for the wheels. And they're the one thing I think I'm going to replace with metal, just so that they're a bit stronger and sturdier to help the wheels roll. This part in particular is quite warped, as you can see, so I might run into some issues straightening this out later when I get around to building it. That might mean putting the two halves together and then dunking it in boiling water and straightening them out, or a hairdryer or something like that. I'll have to wait and see when I get there, but they do look really nice despite them being warped. But keep that in mind when you buy this kit, something to just look out for. Okay, here we have Batman's legs and this little sprue here. So nice detail on his boots, no detail on the other side, not that there needs to be. It's all hollowed out. Oh yeah, here's the last sprue. 1 second, sorry. This is the clear parts, quote unquote. They are a smoked color, so we get this little bit of a windscreen here. Not really sure what that's going to do. And then these are for the headlights on the front there. So it's nice as they are smoked, so you don't have to do that yourself. And moving on here, we have our tires. Now the really cool thing about the tires is they came on the Batmobile, they used a very specific tire that didn't have a tread. So they made their own tread, and they made it as these little Batman symbols. And Revell has replicated that. And I think that's just fantastic. I think that's really cool. There's a little bit of a seam line down there, as you can see. I don't know if that's something worth cleaning. There's a little bit of flashing on the sides of the tires, so it's just something to watch out for. To clean if you're up for that. I've never actually cleaned real rubber tires before. I've heard it's a nightmare. But who knows, maybe it's something I'll give a go with this one. I don't know, but it's really cool that they included that little detail on there, and they look really good. I'm really happy with this. And so here we have the decal sheet, or decal sheet, for those of you south of the border here. It is a very small little square here. I really like this blue backing that they have on there. Really allows you to see the decals really nice and clearly. We've got a bunch for the interior of the cockpit here. It's just random odd stuff. Like Star Trek isn't even that random. They just kind of went all out with this one. It looks pretty interesting. And then we've got these kind of weird chevron shapes here, and those are for the turbine that I showed at the very beginning of the unboxing. So they go on the outside there. These would glow red through the turbine spinning. So it was kind of an interesting effect, I think. Taking a look at the instructions now. There's not much to these instructions. AMT polar lights, or AMT in round 2, sorry. They keep things pretty simple and straightforward. There's a paint guide here in the front, and then it tells you what all the colors are, but it's mostly black and clear blue and gray, and it's quite easy to follow. There's quite a bit of stuff in here. Tells you which side of the tires. I like that they do quite a nice job of labeling and identifying what all the parts are, just to try and avoid any kind of confusion. And here we have the back. So yeah, like I said, there's 8 steps. There's really not a lot to this thing. You could have this, you know, if you're not inclined to paint it, you could have it built very, very quickly. So yeah, that's all there is for the instructions and the decals. Okay, and there we have it. That is what is included in the AMT Batman and Robin Batmobile. I'm actually really glad now that I have this particular one. I've had a kind of a grudge against this Batmobile, partially because the movie is just quite awful. I understand nowadays there's a lot of people who do like it for being goofy. I understand that. I can appreciate that sort of thing. But I just I've always been turned off by this one because it does look just like a giant toy, you know, with the open cockpit, so you can take your figure out, the spinning things, the lights, all these little details. But now that I actually have the Batmobile in front of me, and I've had a really good look at it, and also watching that documentary I mentioned, I do have a new appreciation for it, and it kind of makes me upset that they treated it like a toy rather than a Batmobile, because it's a really cool car. And the more I look at this model, the more I keep imagining how much fun it's going to be to paint it and to try and replicate some of the details that the real car has in the small scale. It's going to be a great challenge, and I'm, like I said, I'm really looking forward to that. It's a lot nicer than I thought it was going to be. I'm thrilled about this one. I kind of got it just to finish off the collection, and it's gone from just begrudgingly buying it to I actually can't wait to build this one. It really looks fun. I'm not just saying that. I honestly think this is going to be a very fun project the day I get to it. And hopefully that day is soon. So, what do you think of this kit? Do you guys have this one? Is it on your list? Have you already picked one up? Let me know. I'd love to know your thoughts on this Batmobile. Do you like it? Does it work? Doesn't it work? I think the more I look at it, it actually does work. And I was probably too harsh on it from a long time. And yeah, it's really growing on me. I like it. I'm starting to love it a little bit more and more here. It's fun. It's different. It'll be interesting in my big Batmobile collection when I get around to finishing that someday. But until then, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Until next time, this is Rebels of Cloud9 signing out.